This video contains gratuitous use of profanity and uncomfortable pauses to compensate for lack of professionalism and original thought. Viewer discretion advised.
Coming to you live from the buffet line of a sketchy Chinese restaurant, we bring you the Nerdy Manroom Show with your hosts Hassel and Monster. And Monster, as the Howard's twins will say, we got another good show this week. We got fast food toys, Geek Week, and we're going to give y'all a good explanation of something we got coming up that will encompass the entire month of March. So we got some big shit for you people.
Yeah, so as you said, when we get into our focus topic today, we're going to discuss some former fast food restaurant toys. And I think they still do this stuff somewhat, but I don't know because I haven't bought any in a while since my kid was young. And I remember buying them then, but yeah. But next week, this will be our last Geek Week until we're back into April because as much as we enjoy doing that and talking about the things we're doing, we do have a new segment that we're planning to interrupt Geek Week for the next few weeks. So Geek Week will return. But we're trying to start a new annual tradition for the month of March, as we know there's so many tournaments and things that go on to time with March Madness, which everybody loves playing the brackets. So we're going to do something similar. We'll explain a little bit more of it later in the show, probably after we get through our focus topic. Before we get to nerd out, we plan that for to share with you kind of what the idea of it is. But that's going to be coming up pretty soon. So hopefully you stick around and you're excited to hear about that, and hopefully you enjoy the activity because as we talked about it more and more, we got into the mood of enjoying it. So hopefully you all do too. But I think before we can even get to that, Hassel, we got to get into Geek Week.
We do.
So
it has been a week.
It has. I don't have that much stuff that I've done, but I've got some really interesting news I think would be fun to talk on here. So I don't know how much stuff you have, so I'm trying to figure out who wants to go first, me or you.
Man, take the floor, brother. You got it.
So I guess I should start off with one thing, too. You asked me earlier if I received a video game that you sent me in the mail, and I had not, and I went out to the mailbox right before we started recording, about 15 minutes before we started, and it was actually in the mailbox today. So it has arrived.
The mailman does deliver.
But I had to... Oh, don't say that because the last thing I ordered off eBay got delivered to the wrong address, and after 4 attempts, I just had to file an insurance claim and get the money back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it sucked. But I did get the game, so I will try that out and hopefully have some input on that the next time we're able to do Geek Week, which will be sometime in April. But before I get to that, this week, some of the stuff I have listened to and watched, I'm going to get into that first. Kid and I went to the theater. We watched an anime called Demon Slayer. It's on Netflix. It's on Crunchyroll, and I've watched some of it. This was a fan event. I keep seeing
pictures for that. I was curious. I just see this one visual, like it's got a Shogun mask, a little bit.
The animation is fantastic. I will say, storyline wise, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't necessarily for me. But it wasn't really even a movie either. It was just a fan event. It's like, here's the last few episodes of the last season's arc. The new season doesn't start till now. Here's a few episodes, like an hour of what's coming up in the new season, so you get to watch kind of a bridge the gap, but it's going to still be on TV. But the animation was amazing. I'll give it that. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't something I was that into. So we went and watched it, but it was okay. Beyond that, the only other thing I've really watched is I did watch the season premiere of Resident Alien 3, or season 3. Resident Alien is one of the funniest shows on television to me. Alan Tudyk, who plays the alien, is just hilarious, man. He can pull off anything and make it funny, even though it shouldn't be funny at all. But I got to ask you about this one because I listen to podcasts, and it's usually wrestling podcasts while I'm working. So this week I was listening to Jim Cornette, and they were talking about Dave Meltzer's recent response about poor people don't like AEW. Have you heard this?
No,
you have not seen it. So he was trying. The context behind this was Dave Meltzer was talking on one of his podcasts about looking at the demographics of why AEW doesn't sell well in certain markets and they sell okay in others. And what he tried to point out and say, he tried to make a correlation that I don't think is a fair one to be there. He tried to say when they go into these certain markets where there's people with less money, they don't sell as many tickets because people aren't interested in it. Don't come to the show. They go to New York, they sell a lot of tickets. They go to Oklahoma City or Oklahoma, somewhere in the middle of Oklahoma, there's a no-name town. They don't sell any tickets. I'm like, dude, that's like saying that ice cream and murder rates both go up because it's hot. Yes, does it happen? Sure. But I don't think it's because the people don't like AEW. I think it's more because they can't afford the tickets because they're in a smaller area.
That's
Everybody
what I was
does not
actually
have
about to just
disposable
say.
income.
I mean, because I'm not much of a Meltzer fan anyway. He's a fucking tool, but
He is.
That's just fucking asinine to say. They can't afford to go. It's not that they don't like the program, and it's not that they don't. Sometimes in life, if you're barely eating ends meet, you make choices, and
You
typically those
absolutely do.
families are probably saying, "Okay, do we want fucking hamburger or chicken this week?" You know what I'm saying? They're making those kind of choices, not. Well, do we really want to go to this AEW show? Oh no, we're too poor for that. We're too poor like that. That's just the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
But and he didn't just try to explain it with the correlation. Like he tried to explain his statement, but he actually made the statement, poor people don't like AEW. I'm like, dude, you can't say that. South Georgia, from where we grew up, is not the most money. If you living to where I have moved, living in Memphis, living in New Orleans, living in Cincinnati, Ohio, the market here is much different. Like I could buy a house where we live with a half-acre of land for $60,000. That same house up here in the market's almost $200,000.
Mm-hmm.
Like holy crap! It's just a different in the market of where you live in the price range. But you go to South Georgia, there's a lot of AEW fans because it's TBS, TNT. It's where that's where WCW existed and where the NWA for the last leg of its life was really big. It was in that area. So you can't say that you don't have fans down there and people don't like it. That's just not the fan who's going to spend money to go there because they don't make as much so they're just not going to waste. The idea here should not be making
I don't
excuses.
think it has nothing to do with anyone's economical standing. But O'Shea Jackson, Ice Cube's son, he put it best in the. You seen the video with him?
Yeah, I saw that.
And he's 100% right. Like with UFC, even if you don't know these two fucking guys, there's a video presentation there, and by the time you've watched both of them, just like he said, you've chose who you want to fucking go with. They wheel these people out, and to their niche audience, they do know who little Shogati Jackson is that no one else has ever fucking heard of, but they know he done some shit on 3 independent shows somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Your hardcore fan knows that, but your casual fan that you're trying to draw in, they're starting to come in a little more and a little more. They don't know who the fuck this guy is as he marches to the ring. And you can't fill him in the 30 seconds it takes for him to make his entrance. So why not do video packages like that if you're going to bring in a talent? That's not a usual. Even something like Will Ospreay. I mean, I hate to break it to you. Your casual American wrestling fan doesn't know who the fuck Will Ospreay is.
No, and
because he's done nothing in the States. Everything he's done is New Japan, and we don't get a lot of New Japan in this area. So if you're not one of those hardcore wrestling fans, you don't know who the fuck he is.
So this whole thing, I think, came about. And the reason I brought it up because I think, for one, it's a stupid statement, but for two, you can't just say that and try to be everything that he says. And by he, I mean Dave Meltzer. Too many pronouns, pal. But everything Dave Meltzer says about AEW is making an excuse for it. Just like he makes excuses for their TV overruns and saying, well, they don't want to tell the network because then it looks like it's not a real sporting event. Okay, but that also means your people don't stick around and watch it because they don't know it's going to overrun necessarily.
Okay. TBS and TNT have had a long working relationship with pro wrestling. They know it's not a real sporting event.
Yeah.
They're fucking well versed in this. They owned it at one time. They didn't just fucking air it. They owned it at one time.
You know that. I know that. I'm not sure but he makes excuses for everything. And this was his excuse for why they weren't making ticket sales. I'm like, dude, you can't say that's not an excuse. The other side of this should be, why don't you fucking lower your ticket sales and maybe I'll go buy a ticket to watch it because.
Oh yeah. Because even the AEW is still, if you wait to the last minute, you can get a 2-for-1, 2 nights for $100 or something like that. But initially, they want way too damn much and to sit low.
The last
And,
time I looked, a floor seat, not even in the front row, but a floor seat just in the 5th, 6th, 7th row was like $341. I'm like, you, that's more than my car insurance. I'm not paying that.
Me and Big Rob was just talking about this just the other day, and not so much about AEW. We'll get back to that, but he had seen where they were going to be in Augusta. Matter of fact, they were WWE was going to be in Augusta at the James Brown Coliseum, which is where we went to see ECW December to Dismember. The worst fucking, you wanted to be December to not remember. It was so fucking bad. The only good thing about it was an Elimination Chamber at that Bobby Lashley one. But it was the same thing. So he was just like, he's a little hassle. It's the same tickets same seats we set in for that pay-per-view. And I was like, holy shit. And it was like a Saturday night premium live event. Or not premium live, I'm sorry, house show. You know, they run a glorified house show on Saturday night. Now they call it a main event. But it's just, it's a house show. These same fucking seats that we sat in, it was like the first or second row behind where the announcers were. We paid no shit for that event there, $150 a piece. Those same seats was $500 a piece. This is for a house show.
Absolutely.
I was like, have they lost their fucking mind?
It's ridiculous, but you know, and I hate to say this, but I can at least see how WWE somewhat gets away with it because they are a household name at this point. They've been around.
Well, they're running limited shows
years
now, so it's not like they're still running 300 shows a year like they were. They're probably down to, I think they run the TV tapings and a Saturday and Sunday show.
Well, so look at it from the perspective of the generic person out there, not even a wrestling fan, but just somebody's like, oh, hey, that'd be a cool event to go to because it's something different. I can see how they would still shell out money for WWE because they're like, oh, I've heard of that. That's on TV all the time. It's got this many. Mm-hmm. Okay, we'll go to it. The casual person doesn't even know what AEW is. No. So for them to be selling $300 and $400 tickets like that too is like, I can't see anybody buying it.
Lower your ticket prices to a reasonable amount. Start out with those 5,000 seat arenas. Quit worrying about trying to fill stadiums. Quit trying to fill these mega arenas. Get something you can feel, a sound stage or something. You know, do what WCW had to do for a time. And even TNA before they blowed up and got big before they got small again, because that's literally what they're doing right now. They peaked 2 years ago.
Yes,
they had so much potential, and they have squandered the hell out of it. And the thing is, they still have it, but like they got Edge. They have made Edge seem less special.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean, he's willing to go out there and wrestle, and that's why he wanted to go there, because they'd allow him to wrestle a few times a month. But they put him in over Ham and Eggers. Nobody gives a shit about, or as Jim Cornette would say, a black lung motherfucker that nobody cares about. I mean, come on. When you make a talent like Edge feel not special, they announced that signing Will Ospreay 3 months ago. He just now last night made a debut. 3 months, because he had obligations in Japan. Why would you even announce it? Don't bother.
Well, everybody's gonna know he didn't come because his first initial reaction was, "Hey, I signed with AEW because I get to stay home more."
Yeah, but you know what? The WWE schedule is not that tough anymore. I mean, I know they do probably a lot of media, but I mean, Cody wrestled. I think Cody had the most wins last year. In 2023, his win was 110, 115 wins because he's only been pinned twice in the last 2 years.
Yeah,
and that was by Roman at Mania last year, and then Drew, the week before last. So 120 something wins. That's all you've wrestled. And don't get me wrong, my fat ass ain't been in the ring 120 times, but they used to wrestle 300 days a year. Easily. Yeah. Sometimes 320. They've got it pretty sweet now.
This is true. So we will move away from wrestling for a bit. We might come back to it when you're up for Geek Week. But the only other thing I had for Geek Week was have you seen where Hasbro is trying to cut more costs again?
I saw the headline today. I didn't get a chance to actually read into it, but I did see something about that. I'm talking about more cuts expected. That's what I saw.
So what they did was they've seen they as they continued on, you know, they had soft sales and they were saying so 9%, 7 to 9% drop in sales. They're actually about 15% down in revenue as of the end of middle of the first quarter of this year. So what they said is, hey, they went back and looked at their strategy and said, well, we need to move our cost savings goal from $350 to $400 million to $750 million this year.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So they are trying to find more ways to save costs. Now, we saw some of it today as for those who are listening. We were actually recording on a Thursday. It's the 29th of February, Leap Day. We actually had a G.I. Joe live had a G.I. Joe live stream earlier today, and then they showed the packaging, and the packaging, it's like all the box art that they put so much into, it's just going away, and it's just a generic, here's a black box with a few lines and a little bit, it looks terrible.
Dude, you know, it looked just like those fucking, you know, where they were like really hyping up the fan choice, or the fan scans.
Yeah.
Where you could scan your own head and you could put your head on whatever body, but they come in this base generic box. It looks exactly like that. It's like they had a bunch of that shit left over because nobody wanted their little fucking cheesy looking fan scans that did not turn out looking nothing like the fan.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's some of their stuff, but what they're saying is, and this, so I should put up front that this news report did not say anything really on the action figure front other than like two little quick points. Most of it's just focused on the company as a whole, right? But you know, they started the cost savings of the 1,100 jobs and all last year, and a lot of that came out of their gaming division, which was a really big hit because these folks who are all into the what's the game when they own now? It's not Dungeons and Dragons. It's the oh crap. I have some of it, and my brain went completely dead. What are they called? It's a card game, and I can't think. Magic the Gathering. So a lot of it came out of there. A lot of the cuts that they did came out of there, and that's where they started at. But now they're looking at other divisions, like they're moving into Nerf next and saying, what can we do there? And they have some plans in the Nerf division that says, okay, we think we can get about $10 million in savings here, which is not much on a $750 million. So still a lot to go there. But
well, let's be honest, dude. Do they really need a different style of Nerf gun every time you turn around?
Not really.
Choose a set amount of how many you want to display each year, and that be your goal, and focus on those.
Well, the one that got me more was that this was the bit of the news that got me the most is that they're less profitable brands. They are trying out a new all licensing production model. So they started with Easy Bake Oven and Fur Real Friends was the first two on this list, but they're not producing the stuff. They are licensing out their material, saying, little company over here, you produce this. So you take on the production costs, you take on the inventory storage costs, you send it out to sell, and we just get like a small percentage of the licensing as a licensing fee. So I was like, is that where they were trying to lead the way?
You know what scares me about that? That's exactly what I was just supposed to say. That's what scares me there. Is that fucking the Tie Father's going to have his hands in some shit that we don't want him to have his hands in.
Well, they started a little bit last year with Super 7 and with Todd at the end of the year and stuff, but I'm like, is that your leeway into it for the action figures? You're trying to fill out that market? Because that's the only market they didn't talk about in this report, because they said in this report, the only thing they've done on the action figure front is pause some brands such as Power Rangers and stuff. But part of that pausing of that was to move people over to work on Ghostbusters because they don't want to hire whole new brand teams for different ones that they don't do all the time. And they have a Ghostbusters movie this year. So like, okay, we'll share the workload and then we'll come back to it. But then they said,
is there really that many toys to be made for Ghostbusters?
Not really, but I think they'll go to something else too besides that. But you see stuff like they're not doing an Indiana Jones stuff anymore this year because there's no movie. It makes sense. Don't do that. They said the only thing they've really got that has shown any growth potential is that G.I. Joe and Transformers have both been on about a 25% year-on-year sales growth, but they can't sustain all the rest of the stuff they make. So it's going to be very interesting to see where this goes.
Well, Monster, for my Geek Week, I've kind of took this much needed time off work and kind of recharge some batteries. So I've done a lot of gaming. I have really been on the old PlayStation 5. I finished Spider-Man 2. It is 100% across the board. I've had Mortal Kombat 1 for some time, and I just neglected it because shortly after I got it, I got Spider-Man. and I just went into Spider-Man and just stayed in the Spider-Man. So I went back to Mortal Kombat 1 and I'd beat the game a few times with like calling the tournament mode or whatnot. But I was like, you know what, I want to do the story mode, because the story mode does look really cool, you know, and some videos I've seen online. So I took it and beat the story mode. It was actually very fun, and the cinematic cutscenes are great. Even if you don't want to buy the game and play it, I recommend going on YouTube. They've got them all together, and hell, they're probably about a little over an hour, I would imagine, everything pieced together. It's pretty in depth and it's a good story. But initially I wasn't sold on the rebooting of the universe the way they did, but it worked, and it made sense, and it was pretty cool. I enjoyed it. I liked it. Of course, I had to get my boy. The only time you get to choose your fighter is right there at the end when you're marching up the pyramid to do the final battle. So of course I got a Scorpion, but the one person that I hated playing with the most, I think, was Sindel. She fucking sucks.
I never liked her character anyway.
Well, she's kind of a good guy in this one here because the way everything's rebooted. She's got some powerful attacks, and if you can time them properly, like she's pretty tough. But if you ever like miss one, it's almost like a sequence. Like you can pair 3 moves together.
Yeah.
But if you ever miss one of those fucking 3, you get caught. And when you get caught, it's fucking the people they have you going against, they will fuck you up pretty good. I enjoyed playing with Melina a lot too. She was real fun. She was pretty badass. So, yeah, like I said, if you ain't gonna play the game, I do recommend going and checking out the story mode on YouTube. I'm in the Jedi Survivor now, and I just seen earlier today where it got picked up. They're going to do a 3rd one. So,
really,
spoilers to me, I suppose it survives. But yeah, they're going to do a 3rd one. Matter of fact, it was just announced. By the time we started the show, I was checking my phone, and that's what it popped up on my Google alerts. So I'm into that one now, but I found it like fucks up my anxiety more.
I turned it on for the first time in months last night. Like I started playing it, and then I got Spider-Man when it came out, and I had not finished it yet, so I haven't turned it on. And then what was it, Saturday or Sunday night? I turned it on and played like an hour of it, and they have so many things where you have to run the wall and you have to jump and you have to shoot the hook and everything, and that right there will run your anxiety up. But that one got me. I got to one point I kept failing at the same spot over and over, and I finally figured it out. And then I get to the end of that part, and as soon as I jumped down, I never even saw the person that stabbed me. Or no, it was actually a gun turret that just sits there and fires. And I'm like, how do I get rid of these and kill them and get rid of them? Because you can't hit them; they're force field covered. So I was like I ducked behind the wall, and then as soon as I stood out, I fell off a ledge. And then you know how you come back, but it takes a little bit of your life. And I got shot, and I died. And I was like, I'm not respawning. I'm pissed off now.
Well, it's terrible that it'll say, do you want a hint? But then it doesn't really give you a hint. I mean, it's like, what the fuck? All you get is a little chiming noise that you may or may not be in the right fucking direction. And like I said, I got $12 in the game because literally I got it during like the Cyber Monday shit. Like it popped up on Cyber Monday at a good deal at GameStop. And I had roughly, I don't know, $25 worth of points I was able to convert over into money. So I got the game for like $12, and that's counting shipping.
Yeah.
So, and I was like, you know, and I set it there, and I was like, when I get done with Spider-Man, I'll start playing it. But then I was like, okay, I beat, literally once I beat Mortal Kombat 1, I was like, well, fuck, I anticipated this taking longer. What I do? So I put it in and I started playing it, but I'm like, I know if I don't finish it by Tuesday, I'll not touch it again. It will not, because come Tuesday, when 2K24 hits, soon, and it's confirmed the Great Muta is going to be a fucking downloadable character. We're not going to get him to fucking November. I'm pretty pissed about that. But he is part of the WCW pack, like because they got several different packs. There's an ECW pack, there's a WCW pack, there's 2 lame ass packs in the fucking middle. There's a Post Malone pack. It's like, ugh.
Why?
Yeah, Muta's part of the WCW. But I will say they brought back some WCW guys that I've been wanting. Luger's going to be back. Diamond Dallas Page is back. Muda's back. And they had Terry Funk in that one. I was kind of surprised. Seeing, I thought he'd have been in the ECW pack, honestly. But he wasn't. But so come Tuesday, you know where your boy's going to be for some time. But I think we'll actually play the My Rise this time. I usually do my GM only, and then whatever the
My
story
career.
mode. But yeah, whatever it is for that season. Like last year, it was the John Cena shit. I really enjoyed beating John Cena countless times with various people. That was fun. But this year is the 40 years of WrestleMania. So once I do 40 years of WrestleMania, I think I'm going to actually do My Rise, because I've seen some gameplay of it. And it's like they've worked it into a deal where like Roman vacates the title. You work your way up and get the title. And I guess you go through defending the title for some time. And then Roman comes back and says, well, that's my belt. I'm here to collect rent, motherfucker. I was like, oh, shit. That's actually kind of intriguing to me. It actually intrigues me to want to create a wrestler and do. I hadn't created my own in some time, so pretty pumped with that. We touched on wrestling pretty much. The only thing I really have on that, other than Drew McIntyre, is the best Drew McIntyre I think I've ever seen him be.
Yeah, he is.
He is fucking slaying it, and I love it. Raw was pretty decent. AEW was okay last night. It was nothing special. Other the tail end segment with Flair, the Young Bucks, or Balding Bucks, as Cornette calls them, and Sting. Sting come out of the rafters.
I saw
cool.
that. I did watch that last night.
The only part that did not make sense is like literally Darby gets the shit beat out of him, and you're like, what the fuck's Sting? Then Flair comes out, and like, okay,
on so long. I'm like, why would you just get killed?
He literally allowed Darby and Flair to get the hell beat out of him because they teased the turn with Flair, and he stays face and throws some of the weakest punches I've ever seen. But the man is 75, to be fair. But both of them get decimated before Sting finally drops from the rafters, and I was like, you know what? As cool as it is to see him come out of the rafters. But so I'm toying with the idea: do I get this pay-per-view or not get this pay-per-view? I really want to watch it, but I don't want to spend the money. So if any of our listeners knows of any shady ways of watching this pay-per-view, your boy is not opposed. I would like to see Sting's final match. Pay-per-view actually looks pretty good. Honestly, Vince has killed the pay-per-view market for me. I will probably never buy another pay-per-view, honestly. But
I don't know that I would ever buy another one at this point, because there's so much stuff that just streams, and it's like, all right, I can watch it later. It's even hard for me to go to the theater, and I'm a theater buff. I love going to the actual theater and sitting down.
Like, I didn't realize Aquaman 2 is on Max now. I was like, oh shit, what am I going to do now?
Yeah, that dropped sometime this week. That's actually not a bad movie either. It's actually an enjoyable DC movie. They just, you know it's not going anywhere.
Well, they finally got the Voyage of the Demeter is finally on fucking Prime. I've been waiting on this for like, I don't know why they drug it out as long as they did, but the Voyage of the Demeter's on there, so I'm going to watch that. I want to watch Aquaman 2 in the next day or so. So with that there, I'm pretty pumped about that, so to speak. But I think that pretty much covers most of my Geek Week. So, other than the fact that I tried the Chicksa.
The what?
The Chicksa. I don't know if you've seen it. KFC has basically made this chicken pizza. And it's really nothing more than it's an upgraded chicken parm. But it's fucking amazing.
So I like KFC a lot of times, but the most inventive thing and the thing I like the best that KFC ever did was that double down, where you have both ends of it being chicken breast with bacon and cheese in the middle.
It's a good thing that it's like the McRib. It only comes around like a bad father a few times a year. But, and if they make this Chicksa a permanent item, I'm not going to be able to go on the diet that I need to go on after going to the cardiologist today, because I can see this being a staple of once a week into my diet. It's that good.
I haven't seen it, so I will have to look at that. But
Well, when I went through the line, I got a small and a large, and I just ordered. I didn't pay attention to the small and large part, and I was kind of pissed off later because when I got to the window, she said, "You got the small chicks in," and I was like, "Well, you know what? I need to be cutting back anyways. No problem." They got home and it was fucking good. I was like, well, the fat ass in me, he's like, "You son of a bitches robbed me from this large." I felt like I needed this large now. So yeah, but I highly recommend it.
Since you brought up KFC, that is a great segue into our focus topic this week of fast food restaurant toys. So when we grew up, and they still do them now, but I don't think it's as prevalent. We grew up, it was a whole ordeal to go somewhere and get this kids meal and get this toy in. And I say kids meal because I can't just say Happy Meal because it wasn't just McDonald's, even though they had a lot of them. There's, I guess the best way for us to do this is just talk about some of our favorites, because there was way too many to talk about all of them. And, we can talk about we can go at it by restaurant. We can go at it by different things. So, I guess let's talk about some of our favorites, and maybe I'll pick a restaurant and we'll talk about some of the ones we got there. And if I miss any, we can come back to them. How about that?
Well, I mean, I think it's safe to say McDonald's was the king of the kids meal toy.
So let's start there.
Because they got the license basically for a lot of the main, because you can kind of tell. Like I was going back through because I'd remembered various things. I couldn't remember which would come from where sometimes. And then going through and doing my research, I was like, you could tell it was almost like McDonald's got all the premium license. Hardee's stepped down. Hardee's and Burger King kind of fought out for some of the B-level stuff.
Sure.
And then it just, beyond that, it was like, ooh. But in our day, I mean, that's something to kind of address too. We didn't complete a lot of this stuff. Because in the 80s, some of you younger listeners may not understand this. In the 80s, it was actually a fucking event to go to McDonald's, get a Happy Meal, go out to eat.
It was.
Because mom, dad, grandparents, whoever you were living with, they believed in cooking every night. So you didn't go out to eat all the time like what you guys do now, because life wasn't, I'm going to say it wasn't as busy, but it just didn't seem as fast-paced as today's world does, maybe. That's the better word. And then the convenience of it is people just got lazy over years. It's far more convenient to drive through and get something. But so fast food toys, if you actually got a Happy Meal and got a toy, it was kind of like, oh shit, this is cool. Like maybe you might do it once a week or once every 2 weeks, something like that. Kind of like going to the store. You didn't go to the store every fucking day and get a soda and a candy bar.
No, but McDonald's had some, but I will say this, you talked about some of the others falling off. There's another one in there that toy-wise wasn't great. Now, I put it in here because there was some collectible stuff that I really enjoyed from there, and I think we should talk about it. But let's start with, before we get to that one, let's start with McDonald's. What's some of the ones you remember from McDonald's or that you enjoyed?
Obviously, the Transformer ones they done, and they wasn't Transformers. They were just transformation bots, I think is what they were actually called. I sent you some pictures of some, but it was basically like, their food that transformed into some little something. And one of the ones I had actually like finally kind of remembered and have forgotten. It's like a lot away memory. And that's why I'm pulling my phone up, people. I'm not being distracted, honestly. I had a lot of pictures.
I went through and made a list earlier. So you're talking about the Transformers.
The Nuggets.
I don't remember them. I remember the McDonald's changeables, which was, I guess they were part of the changeables, which was the transforming food toys. I remember the fries more than anything on those, but they actually, so that was released in 87. I went through and actually looked at dates on some of these things. In 85, they actually did do Transformers. They did Transformers for boys and My Little Pony for girls in the same sales pitch.
I remember multiple times throughout the years they would have My Little Pony for various things. I do remember that. I don't actually remember Transformers. I remember the Nuggets that came with like costumes.
I remember in the 90s they did a short Transformers run with Beast Wars, because I remember getting some of those just randomly being in there, like, oh, because I found out as an adult that you can actually go in there and you don't have to buy a Happy Meal to get the toy. You can just tell them you want to buy the toy and pay for the toy itself, and it's like half the price of the Happy Meal. And they would have them right there, and you could just pick which one you wanted if they had it in stock. I was like, I didn't know this forever, and I was like, why? As an adult collector or getting into an adult collecting age, I was like, why am I buying a damn Happy Meal just to get this one? I don't have to.
I've been robbed for all these years with this terrible
Yeah.
single cheeseburger. But looking back though, some of the best ones to me was like when they done the pails, and they was this big huge fridge this last year where they brought the pails back. You know, the witch, the pumpkin, the ghost. Well, when those initially come out, I remember how cool that was to me. And I only got like one of them, but you had those there. I mean, they got the big lines like the superhero movies when they come out. That always was at McDonald's. Super Mario. But the weird shit's the ones I found more that to me just had sentimental something, like the Fraggle Rock cars.
I remember those.
Like they had the tires that were either like fucking the tops of pies or fucking cookies. I can't make out which it actually was. There was like a beeter, a fucking radish, and a carrot, and then these little fucking cookie wheels, and you had a Fraggle in there. But shit like that was just like back then. It just was really neat.
So you talk about some of those. So let me share some of the ones I had. And I went, like I said, I went by year. So you said Super Mario. Yes, in 1990, I remember Super Mario Brothers 3, and I only remember the one that actually was the jumping one where you squeeze them down, and when the suction release, he'd jump up. It was the Mario.
Terrible. How fat did Mario look in that?
But you talk about some of those cars. There was a Chippendales Rescue Ranger car set in 1989 and a DuckTales one in 1988. I don't remember DuckTales, but I remember Chippendales Rescue Ranger ones. And I
know they always done a ton with Disney. I remember more of the collectible cups that you would get with Disney. Where it was always through McDonald's.
So before we even got to those, though, one of the ones I remember, and I don't know if you'll remember these at all, but do you know they did Muppet Babies? And they had like different, they weren't cars, but they had like a figure in a car, or like Kermit had a skateboard, so he didn't really have a car, but they had something for them to ride on. And Miss Piggy had a car. Yeah. Fozzie had one. Those were some of my favorite ones because I wasn't even a huge Muppet Babies fan. Like I would watch it, but it was one of those that's like, for whatever reason, I just enjoyed those toys because I really like more of the car and skateboard.
I am fighting the urge to break out in Muppet Babies song right now. I loved the fucking Muppet Babies.
I liked it, but it wasn't a top tier thing for me.
Man, that song's gonna be in my head the rest of the night now. If my wife was not on her Auntie Flo, she'd get made love to the Muppet Babies later.
That's horrible, man. But let's do this before we leave McDonald's because I don't have that many more from McDonald's. But what is your favorite one from McDonald's? Because the one I got left was my absolute favorite one from them.
All-time favorite from McDonald's? That is a good one. Give me just a second because I actually...
So while
that Batmobile, the 89 Batmobile.
I don't even remember that one. I remember Batman glasses more and Spider-Man glasses more at Burger King than I do anything else for those. My favorite McDonald's one though was in '95 they did the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie toys.
Those were fun.
Some of the stuff they had in there wasn't that great, but the Zords specifically, where you had the figure and you had their Ninja Zords, and they could actually sit in there, and the figure was 5 point of articulation, but they were actually really well designed with the armor suits and stuff to let you know this is how they look now. I was like, for cheap,
but it's kind of a fair assessment to say that maybe like their toys started out a little nicer and they kind of trailed off towards the end as far as the quality.
Oh yeah, sure.
They done a line of Disney figures, I remember, and that was actually like one of the pictures I sent you. And it was literally like, they were all figures. I remember having the Bambi. I don't know why they give a fucking boy Bambi, but I got Bambi. But, I mean, he was actually well done, Looking back at it, it's like, you know what, it actually wasn't a bad representation.
I want to take a quick aside, though, since you said that. They gave the boy this toy. In today's world, how would you know what toy to give when somebody walks in there?
Ooh. You know what? I'm gonna be honest.
It's just got to be unisex at this point.
I wouldn't want to be in their shoes. I remember you would have to say, I need a boy's Happy Meal or a girl's Happy Meal.
Yeah. I remember that specifically.
So how do you do that today with the pronouns being how they are? I mean, I would like a cock at birth Happy Meal and a vagina at birth Happy Meal. I mean, is that how do you do it?
I don't know, but I'm not even going to go there. But that's yeah. Yeah, I'm going to steer us back
Born
towards
with
the toy.
balls, Happy Meal. We have one born with balls, Happy Meal, people.
When I looked at these, I didn't look past the mid to late 90s just because I was like, I don't remember them at that point. But I do remember that McDonald's has still carried on the Power Ranger license, because I remember when they did their Power Ranger Samurai, they did like little Zords that built into the Megazord, and they didn't have riders; it was just Zords that could actually snap together, and it looked like the actual. Because I remember my son having the actual Megazord, and then we had the one from McDonald's, and he was like, "It's like, oh, it's take your kid to work day," and he would play with them together.
Well, see, like the ones I do now is kind of like I do a lot of the Marvel stuff, and like when the Gremlins with us, we'll take them, Happy Meal, here and there. They're real cartoony looking. I don't know. They're almost like, to be honest, they're almost like Funko Pops. The way they look, like they have this Funko Pop look, and they'll be on this little like surfboard looking thing. Like the Thor ones were all ships or something like that, but they would like you could put them together, and they had like some point of action. Like the wheels would make them do some shit, But the heads were very Funko looking.
Well, so you bring us to a great segue, because so many of these toys were non-movable. They didn't have any moving parts. And I don't remember a lot of stuff from Hardee's. And I tried to look and couldn't find a ton of stuff. But the one thing I remember from Hardee's that stood out the most to me were non-movable toys. But these things were so collectible that at the time, you didn't have internet, eBay, all this. But at the time, if you could get those in hand, you could go to a flea market and turn around and auction while selling.
California raisins.
You could sell them for hundreds of bucks. And my grandmother, on my dad's side, went and got every one of those that came out. She went and got them. My sister had every single one of them. It's like, I remember them. I can never forget those. That was one of the ones that stands out to me more than anything, and that's the only one I remember really from Hardee's.
Realistically, there was 3 properties I remember for Hardee's, and in researching, they were really the only 3 I could find of substance. They had the California raisins, which you had your initial first set of 4. And then after that, they started kind of expanding and making
set of 4, set of 6, and
Pound Puppies. They done the pound before Beanie Babies was a thing.
Now that you say that, I remember those because my sister had those too. Because Hardee's is where you went to get breakfast where we grew up. McDonald's was great for lunch and dinner. Hardee's didn't compete, but breakfast they had them whipped.
That was it by far. They had Pound Puppies. And I remember when Days of Thunder came out. Everybody wanted those fucking Days of Thunder cars. And it was pretty cool because like the meal itself come in a car. Like you took the top off, but it was like old reuse of the Dukes of Hazzard shit when had the Dukes of Hazzard property in the early 80s.
I don't remember those, but the Pound Puppies and the California raisins, like I can never forget those. What about Burger King though? Since we didn't have a lot of the share on Hardee's, can't quit coughing,
dude. Well, that's the thing. I looked at Burger King. I found the Smurfs.
Yeah, I remember them slightly, not much.
They were very much in the tone of California raisins. Other than they had like little wheels that worked on the little things. Beyond that, I found they done the Universal Monsters, and those are kind of.
I don't remember that.
Around the mid-90s, they had a Universal Monsters wave. They all had like some little, like Dracula raised up out of the coffin. Gilman spit water. Frankenstein lurched his arms out. I mean, shit like that. I mean, but those were kind of cool. I vaguely remember those as a child, but beyond that, I don't remember a whole lot for Burger King. Burger King was not what it is today.
Well, we didn't have Burger King until very late 80s, early 90s where we lived.
Yeah.
But I could tell you
it was probably mid 90s.
There's some that I remember from there. There was Captain Planet cars, and they were just, I think they were just decoed out for like they were like the Muppet Baby ones, right? So it was just the character from Captain Planet and the little rider. I don't think they came out if I remember right. a couple of ones that I do remember very well. Looney Tunes flip cars. So there was a car and you could flip it over and it would turn it. Like there was one with Porky Pig and he looks like he's in a sub type sandwich, like one of those long sandwiches they have there. I know it's not a sub, but it looks like it. And you could flip it over and he could pop out the other side, be driving from the bottom side of what the car was, and it was a different looking sandwich at that point or something, like color difference stuff.
Oh no, I know exactly what you're talking about right there. That was not Burger King, I don't think.
Oh yeah, I looked it up. It was because I thought it was something else too. I thought it was McDonald's. It was
because
Burger
that
King.
was it? I remember a line of those, but it was Tiny Toons.
They did Tiny Toons and they did Looney Tunes.
Because like it would like be one driver on one side, you flip the car and it would flip up, and it'd be a different driver on the other side.
Yeah.
Because there was, I remember the Tiny Toons, but I thought that was McDonald's. And I remember
I did too, but I actually looked them up and it started Looney Tunes was there, and then Tiny Toons was a year or so later. They did flip cars the next year for Tiny Toons.
Okay. And they also had the Looney Tunes where you snap the armor on them.
Yep, that's the next one I had.
Like Bugs Bunny was Superman, Daffy Duck was Batman. So
that was in the same. That was in the same year as the Looney Tunes flip car. So we had to have Burger King by 1990 because those were 1990 and 91.
I do remember those, actually.
I remember those. Now, ones that I don't remember that stood out just because of the property, gargoyles. I didn't know they had gargoyles. They had two different sets of gargoyle toys in 95 and 96, I think. And I completely missed them because I don't remember them at all from them. But I know that was a property that I really liked. And I know you really loved it, but I don't remember them having that.
Oh, man. I was massive. I still love gargoyles, but it was like, that's one of the ones I look fondly back on because my grandmother and I would watch it together. Like,
yeah,
she was always cool, like, even before Pops died. Like, when she would watch He-Man with me in the afternoon, Thundercats, Transformers, G.I. Joe, all that stuff. And it's funny now she's in her late 80s, and God bless her, everything she says is at the loudest because she can't hear. But occasionally she'll get to talking about it. She said, "Remember when we used to watch this?" And I'm like, "I do, Mimi, I do."
So there was a couple I tried to look up, and I don't. I couldn't find much for them, but Dairy Queen we had, I couldn't find much on it because I don't remember anything that they had at all. I tried to look up Wendy's. I couldn't find a lot of stuff for Wendy's, and we didn't have it. We had Wendy's later than we had Burger King in our hometown. So.
And maybe that's why I was thinking about that was what come mid 90s.
Yeah, I think so. But I don't remember getting anything from Wendy's. Taco Bell.
Did you see what? And I know it's off topic a little bit, but speaking of Wendy's, did you see what they're talking about surge pricing moving into the next year?
I did, and did you see what Burger King did in response?
No, I didn't.
So they're talking about surge pricing, and when it's not a surge time of the day, and the meals are not up, you get certain things for free, like you get a free fry or a free burger or whatever certain times of the day. So Burger King said, "We'll do you one better. You use our app for these days," and they said like. It might have been a whole week or it might have just been a couple of days, but I know today is one of them specifically because of sleep day. They're like, if you order more than $3 off our app, you get a free Whopper.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, they tried to warm up a little bit. I was like, good on you.
I was thinking to myself, like, Wendy's, you were like at best number 3 nationwide. At best. You can't afford to be doing it because you don't got a lot of shit that's worth buying anyways. The breakfast is actually pretty good there. I like those sugar cakes. Frosty occasionally. But like their Baconator fucking sucks. It typically 9 out of 10 times they took 4 fucking pieces of bacon, snapped them in half, and layered them to where you really ain't got no fucking bacon on this Baconator. You want a bacon burger, go get you a Bacon King from Burger King.
Baconator, my son loves. I'm not that into it. Now, I will buy a triple with cheese if I'm going there just because it's big enough to actually fulfill me. But I would tell you that if you order online on their app, they have more options for their side items. Like you can get fries with cheese melted on them and stuff like you can get at Sonic and all. I'm like, you can't get that if you just drive up to the window. It doesn't tell you have that option. But you order online, you get more options. I'm like, that's just actually pretty good. But who knows that? Because who uses the app that often? Well, I only do because they're right across the road, and I can actually make them deliver because they do their own delivery, and it doesn't charge me extra.
So I used to enjoy them for the chicken sandwiches because they had a spicy chicken sandwich, and that was all I ever got from Wendy's was a spicy chicken sandwich. That was my go-to with them. Yeah. Now I will. Their breakfast Baconator is actually pretty good. So. And unfortunately, we don't have Hardee's in town anymore, so I'll go there if I don't go to McDonald's. But typically if I'm getting a burger, I'm going to burger. If Hardee's is an option, Hardee's is king. But if Hardee's is not an option, I'm gonna go to Burger King and I'm getting a fucking Bacon King, and that's all you fucking need. Because literally, in my 20s, my teens in the 20s, I was very much a Royale with cheese man. I stuck with the quarter pounder from McDonald's. That was all I knew. Then I learned there's a lot better out there. But literally, I went there 2 weeks ago. I was just like, you know what? I literally have not had a quarter pounder in years. Maybe it's back to where it used to be. That was the worst fucking burger I've had in some time, dude. No shit.
Oh, so as we've talked about some of those, though, that reminds me of another site that, and I had some of this in my notes already, but
yes, that's sites to show you.
This was one that was not a burger place, and most people don't even associate it with fast food, but I associate all this with fast food. But do you remember Pizza Hut having stuff?
Actually, I do. They had like particular properties.
They did, and what they had was not always toys. They actually tried to promote other stuff with the kids. So I would tell you, there's several things that I am not a pizza person. I don't really even like pizza that much, but I will occasionally get it. However, I wanted to go there a lot as a kid just because of certain stuff that they had. So Pizza Hut, the first thing that I remember them having, they had puppets, and they were the Land Before Time dinosaur puppets, and you could get all of those. I remember getting all of those from there. Even though that wasn't something you would normally associate with us, those puppets were just fun to play with. They had those in 88 and 89, and I remember going there and getting all of those.
There was something else they carried there, and man, it's escaping me. Like, I remember there being a big display when you went in there. Because okay, my family we didn't go out to eat a lot. We just didn't. Mom and grandma, she cooked at home, but mom worked at Pizza Hut. She was assistant manager for a certain amount of time, and so I would go in there with her, and I get to eat. And I remember there being this big display, and fuck, it is escaping the hell out of me. But it was like something that was extremely popular at the time, and I was like, wow, I was just like blown away. And I actually remember getting them because she was assistant manager, so we hoodwinked them. But
I'm gonna
I just don't know what it is.
I remember that. I remember they had Darkwing Duck crime fighting kits, and it wasn't just action. It was like little stuff that he would use, like his gun, his gas gun, or his magnifying glass, all this kind of stuff. You had to go each week to get a different one. But Pizza Hut's the one I remember going to, and it was not the one you go to, you grab Happy Meal, and you go home. This was the one you went down and it was a sit-down restaurant for us because there wasn't anything else. But you sat down and ate there, and then you got the stuff, so you could play with it the whole time you're eating, which was like really fun.
Well, while you're looking that up, one of the more off the track ones I remember, and it wasn't so much a toy as it was just a collectible, so to speak. There was a Jiffy store. There was a Jiffy store in Ocilla, Georgia. The smallest little corner of the world that you've ever fucking been in. But they carried the Great American Bash cups. They had like fucking Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair, Nikita Koloff, Sting, Magnum TA, all of these. And I remember I was just like captivated with those as a youngster because I was like small.
Well, I remember the thing that I went to Pizza Hut for the most, and again, all their stuff wasn't just your normal toys. Like those Land Before Time ones were like rubber puppets and stuff. They were like full. They looked like it wasn't just a hand puppet with looks like a sock face with the eyes on it. This was a
little more upscale. They were a little more bougie. Yes.
But they had if you remember in I think it was 90, it had to be 92, 93 because it was the first season of X-Men. If you went there, they actually had a video, the first volume video of the X-Men cartoon you could get if you went and got the kids' meal, the kids' personal pan pizza.
It had a toy and a VHS.
Yep. And then later on, they started trying to promote reading. Like if you went there after school, you would get stuff from school, like a slip from school. You could go there and turn it in with your pizza, and you would get
the Book It Club.
Yeah, you would get X-Men comics. They had Daredevil comics.
Yep. You read 4 books, you got a free personal pan pizza. We were kings and did not know it, monster.
Well, I went there for the comics. Like when they did the X-Men comics, they had 4 issues of X-Men and 1 Daredevil comic. I remember going there and getting. So those were like, oh, this is amazing.
Do you remember the ones they would give us at school about smoking? Do you remember
Yeah.
the Daredevil? I don't know why when you said Daredevil, I just like it unlocked completely because there was just that terrible smoking and vapors and whatnot. Though I think it might have been the Vaponator or some shit like that. It was something like that. But it was Daredevil. I don't know why that just triggered. But yeah,
So I'm looking at their toys that Pizza Hut had now. Beauty and the Beast puppets. I don't remember those. Defeat the Dark Side. Eureka's Castle. I don't remember that. Land Before Time. I remember the Page Master. I remember them having stuff for that because I remember that movie because movie was the one that had the first preview for Power Rangers on it. Because I didn't like that movie, but I watched it just to see that first
preview. That was Macaulay Culkin, wasn't it?
Yeah. How about this one? In 1999, they had the Phantom Menace toys. I didn't know.
Really?
I don't remember that.
That's the only ones
that's the only ones I could find.
I'll be honest. I would have probably went there and purchased those.
Yeah, I don't remember these there, but I
at least before I watched it.
I don't hate on it. I enjoy all the movies.
Jar Jar's the only thing I have about the name. If you delete Jar Jar from that movie, it's fucking still great.
Fair. Yeah, that's all I can remember from Pizza. I don't remember. We didn't really have a lot of other restaurants, so it's hard for me to talk about any others. I mean, we could have went to a different town and got like Crystals or something, but I don't remember them having stuff that stood out either. So,
do they have kids meals?
I don't know. Again,
they probably just say, "Look here, child, just eat a fucking Crystal and be happy as a small burger."
So I know this was a very quick focus topic for us, but we just wanted to hit on some nostalgia points and remind folks, hey, some of these toys that were out there, and that's kind of what we did here. But
there's a lot of big money in some of these now.
There is the licensing fees alone and the kickbacks they had to get from those properties had to be beneficial to both parties.
Oh, absolutely.
Now I'm not so sure, just because again the whole market's changed. It's like kids aren't watching a cartoon and then going to the store and buying stuff from that cartoon. Now it's like I play Fortnite, I might go buy something, but mostly I just want to play the game. It's a different ideology now, I guess, more than anything.
The world itself is just so different. Like we were talking at the beginning of this. I mean, we didn't go 2 times a week and eat out.
No,
like most American families now probably eat out at least twice a week.
Guarantee you, I do now.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, when we were children, how often did Monster go eat out when he was a child?
Maybe once. It depended on who. Maybe twice a week at best. If mom was working at a different, when she was working in certain stores, and it's like we only one car at the house, so we got to go pick her up, and it's like, all right, don't have time to cook, don't do this, just grab something real quick. But it was rare. And then the older we got and started working out of town and stuff, it was even less frequent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So see, the world has just changed. It's a different place.
It is. But you know what? Since we're talking about some change, let's pivot our conversation here to something that we're going to change next week, and we're going to be getting, as we said at the top of the show, we're actually going to be replacing Geek Week for the month of March. We are going to be doing, let's see if I can get this out because it's a mouthful, Mighty March Madness Melee. We are going to have a bracket tournament. We'll give more details on what all we're going to do with it as we get into it next week, but we are going to have a 34 character bracket tournament to fan vote on all except for I think the very first match, which will be wild card matches. So we actually get to pick those. We actually have to go through and come up with the characters and stuff. But we're going to give you all the chance.
The power is yours, people.
Yes,
Captain
and we
said this best, but
we will give much more detail next week. But just to kind of let you in on what it is we're going to do this in the month of March, and then next year we're going to do it, but maybe we'll change it up to maybe a different set of properties and stuff next time. This time it's going to be a very open one, but maybe next time we do something different. Maybe next year we do wrestling or something with it, which is not included in this year's.
But Monster, can we agree like right now, moving forward for the month of March, every time we say that mouthful of M's, madness has to always be said in Macho Man Madness voice. Madness.
I can't pull it off. So if we're going to do that, you're going to have to say it every single time.
See, I can't either.
I would be choking right now if I did that. But
gives me the excuse to drink a sip of a Hassel drink.
But next week we'll kick that off. We will explain all the rules of it. You will be checking. Make sure if you're interested in voting on it, check our social media because it will be on there every week for the next bracket and what's moving forward.
We'll put it in the stories. It'll be in the timeline, but there'll be a voting thing there so you guys can vote and you tell us who wins.
Yes, and we will have more updates on it, and especially as we get into it. We just started working this process today, so hopefully we will have soon the list of competitors. So next week we can share the competitors. We can get them into their brackets. They will be randomly chosen who's facing who. More details and much more in depth next week. We just wanted to present it this week, but next week tune in here to check out the whole thing. And the whole show next week will be dedicated to it. Now, in future episodes, it's going to be that's what's taking place at Geek Week, and we'll still have a focus topic. But for next week, it's all about that, setting up the whole tournament and getting it going. So we will have a lot to do with it next week, and you'll get to check it all out and learn all the different nuances of what's going on. But to finish out today's, we do need to go into Nerd Out, Hassel. So, for folks who haven't been here before, this is the part of the show we ask random questions around the topic of the day and respond with little to no prep time. We would love to hear your responses as well. Feel free to drop that in the comments or expand upon our answers if you want to talk about ours some more. And this week we actually have every now and then we get some listener questions we throw in during the weekly. So we do have a listener question in this one. And sometimes we do whole shows on that. But today we had a random one that came in yesterday, so we're going to use it. But also we have our individual Nerd Out. So let's start with ours, and then we'll do the listener question first, because I think the listener one's probably a little bit more entertaining than ours is going to be this time around. So since I went first on Geek Week today, I will go with my question first. So yeah, we talked about this some, but I don't think we delved into it too much. But from your personal memories, what is your favorite fast food restaurant to have gone to and gotten the toys, and what was your favorite one you received from them?
Ooh. Well, back in the 80s and 90s, McDonald's was king. I mean, I don't touch McDonald's unless I eat breakfast now with a 10-foot pole, but back in the day, they were king. Like, it was like special to go to McDonald's. So, and I have correlate a lot of good memories, when we would go. So I would definitely say McDonald's. And I don't know, for whatever reason, those Fraggle Rock cars, they just, maybe it's just that I was at a certain point in my life and childhood to where I was, in a euphoria. But those right there stand out to me for some reason. But not because Fraggle, not because they were just like a favorite property by no means. I don't know. It was fun. I don't know.
It was the same for me, because McDonald's would have been what I would have normally said, just because of the plethora of stuff that they had, which that's a word you don't get to use very often, but plethora. But they had some of my favorite, which was those Power Ranger toys. But I'm gonna be honest, even though I'm not a pizza person, Pizza Hut was my absolute favorite and the best memories I had, because for whatever reason, again, just like you talked about, the Fraggle Rock wasn't your thing, but those cars were awesome.
Yeah.
Land Before Time I liked, but it wasn't my thing by any means. But them damn puppets, for whatever reason, between those puppets and the X-Men video and comics that they had me sold. I could have went there every day and ate there, and I don't even like Pizza Hut.
You know one I just fucking forgot about that was fast food exclusive. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle not a soundtrack, but cassette that had the turtles singing songs.
Oh, from their live tour, yeah. That was a Pizza Hut thing too.
Yep, it was. That literally just hit me, because that was one I do remember having.
So Pizza Hut had those things. That's why I said for my memories, Pizza Hut was the best one, because they had those different things that I collected.
They had the upscale shit. They were bougie.
Yeah, but it was really cool stuff. And then you got it while you're there. Like, even with those Land Before Time puppets, again, not a huge fan, but I'm sitting there eating, and you're sitting there waiting on your food to come and stuff, and it's not like you're just sitting there playing on a little drawing mat if they give you one. You actually had something to mess with the whole time. It was fun.
Would you like to have $1 for every one of those puppets that left with pizza grease on it?
Whew. I wonder if any of those stuff held up, because you got to figure the stuff they were made out of degraded by now. You can actually find them on Etsy and stuff. I have seen them. It's just one of those. It's like
worse than the Michael Myers OG 78 mask.
You know what's really funny though is I do still actually have the 4 X-Men comics from there.
Really?
I don't have the video anymore, but I had the 4 comics. I had the video too.
So you're gonna make me watch X-Men 97 tonight. Or 96, I guess, supposedly. But on a quick aside, did you see where the original writer for Spider-Man, the animated series, has said they want to do Spider-Man 98? He's down. They just got a call.
I've seen that, and I'd be down for that. What's funny to me is that all those shows are tiling them by the last year of the show versus the first year, because X-Men debuted in 92.
Yeah.
I've never understood that. I was like, why'd you go with 97?
Well, you can just kind of move things along. Jim Lee era.
I guess so. But that was my question for this week. So what do you have, sir?
You know what? That actually was my question. I literally was hoping you wasn't going to go with that right there. So I am at a loss. So I'm going to turn it over to the listener.
Well, we had a listener question that came in, and what's funny is the picture that was sent with this question was actually already sent in the group chat before, but it came back, and I noticed the question the second time around. I don't know if it was there the first time because I don't remember seeing it. But it was a question. It was a Star Wars based question. It has really nothing to do with what we talked about today, other than some folks have Star Wars toys. But if Anakin Skywalker had survived the Battle of Endor, should he have been allowed to walk freely? Meaning, should he have been a free person?
Ooh, that is very, very. Does he go by Anakin or does he go by Vader? If he goes by Vader, there's absolutely no way you can do it.
I don't see how you could either way. The amount of war crimes he committed. I mean, the people.
But he brought balance to the Force, monster.
Yeah, but no matter what you do, how do you say that you're?
Well, how interesting. Okay, let's be honest. Let's say for whatever reason, somehow he skated through the cracks. Because, Senator Organa speaks of her. Well, she's Princess Queen, whatever the fuck she is at this point. She speaks up for him and says, "My daddy's a good guy." And they skate by the Senate.
I don't see how you could, because he destroyed an entire
interesting would
planet.
it be, though, story-wise, everywhere he shows up, here he is in white and gray garb now because he's redeemed. But that aura, because people are going to always associate that mask, that face, with the violence and death and destruction he brought. He was the Emperor's right hand of doom. How interesting would it be story-wise, though, to see Vader and Luke show up at places, and how much would it be like Luke getting tainted just by being with him in people's eyes?
It's got to affect, no matter what you do, it's got to. I don't know how he, with his skills.
It's a cool concept, but does it really work?
With his skills, a lot of people would want to kill him on sight if they saw him. But with his skills, how many of them would really be successful with that? No matter how much they plotted. But besides that, I just don't see how you could, no matter how he redeemed himself, and I don't see how you could not say, okay, we have to make an example out of you and imprison you. And now it'd have to be his choice, because how are you going to keep him there otherwise, honestly? But
yeah, because
if he's redeemed himself to that point,
with the Force, Vader, you're not fucking with him.
But at that point,
he would have probably done things to finally take the cybernetic upgrading he should have done years prior, but because he's not had to channel the pain any longer. So you might actually get one of your most powerful versions of Anakin.
You might. I just don't see how they allow him to be a free walking person. I mean, but at the same time, it's if he's redeemed himself and he's truly redeemed himself, how could he not turn himself in and feel remorse for it?
We are literally living in a country right now where people are clamoring, and I mean clamoring, for Donald Trump to return. And we don't discuss politics, so that's not. But I'm just saying, after the last 4 years we've had, people are clamoring for a guy that just trashed the last 4 years.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, even Vader say it was all the Emperor. I just had to do what I was told. I fear for my life.
Yeah, I don't know if you could take that one.
He only killed all the younglings at the temple. I mean, come on.
Well, if
you got away,
he blew up a whole planet. He was right. I mean,
you know how many more are left though?
You could
There's
try
a
to
lot
say
left.
You could try to say
Yeah,
Grand Moff Tarkin made that call, but Vader was the one saying, "Yeah, you should do that."
I mean, Tarkin pulled the trigger. There's a lot of other planets left. He only slayed 200-300 younglings. Youngling Slayer 3000 moved on to create heroes. He's really a hero monster. You're just trying to make him into a monster. He's not.
And what about all those people? Were they covered by insurance on that first Death Star?
That is one of the best things of Clerks ever.
It is. It makes you think. It's like, didn't really think about
Because
that.
when he gets into and Jedi, they knew what they were getting into. Like, this man's got a point.
He did.
He's thought his shit through.
With that, though, I think that brings us pretty close to a close for today, Hassel. But before we leave, you got to tell everybody where they can find us at.
Man, find us on all the socials. We're on Facebook, Hassel Hutchinson, the Nerdy Manroom Show. Instagram, where we're probably the most active at, the Nerdy Manroom Show. We are on Twitter, Nerdy MR Show. We are on TikTok at the.Nerdy Manroom Show.
And remember, make sure you check out all those socials in the coming week as we start our March Madness melee. But also, Hassel forgot to tell everybody that we are also on Geek Network. Find us on there, or on Spotlight Media on Roku, Amazon, Fire TV, wherever you get your streaming services. And while you're checking us out, don't forget to go check out our extended Nerdy Manroom family member, Big Rob. You can find him on his channel at Big Rob's House of Entertainment and No
Chinese Food,
where he does fantastic toy hunts and movie reviews. And looking forward to the next one just to see what's coming up next. But while you're doing that, once you check out Big Rob, go check out our sponsor also, These Own Collectibles. We want to give them a big thank you. You can find them on the internet at theseowncollectibles@gmail.com and on Facebook at These Own Collectibles, or in their store at 305 Main Street, Tifton, Georgia. Visit them for all your nerdy needs. Help them support the local artist community by supporting their cause of bringing unity through community. Fandoms unite. And before you get completely out of here, turn us completely off, because yes, we are annoying after a while, and I know you want to. Make sure you check out the end credits. You'll see some special shout out and thank you to some of our friends and extended Geek Network family members. Their details will be in the closing credits. And as for us, we're out of here for today, but join us here next time where we start the first part of our month-long Mighty March Madness Melee.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not even going to try it. But until then, live nerdy and enjoy the kids menu.